Being an alcoholic actually saved me. Now, there's a profound statement, and a ridiculous statement, you may say. Let me explain more. I was living a life of what I thought was drive and excitement and achievement and success and money. And externally, that was all true. No doubt about it. I came out of school, I achieved, I built a business, I made the money, I had the cars, I had the house, I had the vision, the suit and everything. But then literally, emotionally, personally, DNA was broken. And that breaking, that me hiding from who I'd become and what I was, even though it looked amazing, took me down the route of alcohol. Nobody made me become an alcoholic. I talk about being ADHD. I don't think because I'm ADHD that made me an alcoholic. I think my addiction to alcohol was driven by my ADHD, but that's a different discussion, maybe for a different day. But what I am saying is I got to become an alcoholic and then I realized I had to stop. But it is sobriety, but it was becoming an alcoholic and my journey post-alcohol that actually saved me. And what I mean by saved me from living a false life, saved me from living a life that was just false, totally unauthentic, totally unreal, totally pretend, just so I could show other people I was amazing, just so I could show other people I was achieving, just so I could show other people, oh, look at me. I was broken inside. So when I say becoming an alcoholic saved me, in a very, very strange way, I mean it. Now, why do I share that? Because there will be people out there who are in situations, maybe in an alcoholic, maybe in an addiction phase, or maybe just in a really, really, really bad place right now. That bad place that you are in, that where you are right now, and everything that is hurting every single day, I can assure you, bizarrely enough, could be the making of you. Now, it's not pleasant, and I am not making light of it, and I am not making fun of where you are right now, because I still look back in my very, very dark days. But it was only because of those days that I hit a rock bottom, or I hit a point where I knew I had to change, and that drove me, and somehow or another, from the absolute edge of darkness, and that's where I was. I found a reason, and I've built on that reason now for over 6 years, and I've built a completely new life. Even in my heyday of positivity and financial wealth and all those things of running a business, never did I feel like I feel on a daily basis now. Never did I get that true emotional pleasure and happiness that I have right now, because it was all false. So alcohol took me to a place that I had to get sober. So I now talk about sobriety being my superpower. Now, being sober isn't a superpower, but actually using the tools I have used in sobriety is my superpower. Now, what are the tools of sobriety? The tools of sobriety are taking where you are right now, thinking about where you are right now, and changing the dynamic of what you have today. And that is about not focusing on what you currently have and focusing on what you want, focusing on who you want to be, focusing on where you want to go, focusing on the person you want to become, focusing on being sober, focusing on being enlightened, focusing on being successful without having to have a drink, focusing on engaging with people without it being drinking, focusing on waking up in the morning without another hangover, focusing, I think you get the point of where I'm going with this one. But it's about, so we go back to the dramatic headline, I guess, alcohol saved my life. And no, what it did, it took me to a point where, fortunately, I was able to get the other side. Fortunately, I was able to find the tools to come out the other side. But what it did, it stopped me living a false life. And now when I think back to those days, what were sent like fun, days of being in the pub, days of just doing recruitment and doing those things all day, every day, that seemed like fun were just never fun. So what alcohol did, it actually brought me to a halt. It brought me to a brick wall. It brought me to a rock bottom, if you want to call it that. And it allowed me then to rebuild. Now, I had to rebuild, and I am still rebuilding from the absolute depths. You don't want to get as low as I got. You don't want to get into the mental state I was in. You don't want to get into the physical shape I was in. You don't want to get into the debt and the financial carnage I've caused it. You don't want to get there. This is why I share this information now, is that what I'm trying to do is share my story and share where I went, because if I can avoid one one person driving along that journey, that unauthentic lifestyle, that drive to become something they really truly don't want to become, just because somebody else might see it and you can tell somebody else you are this or you are that. That is my mission here, is to help people understand two things. You can take your own journey, but you can also get into really dark places, and there is a future. There is a way through. No matter how dramatic it may feel for you right now, no matter how dark it may feel for you right now, there is a way through. How, you may ask? Yeah, that's okay, Cliff. You've done it. It's easy for you. How? By focusing on what you want to become and what you want, and removing that constant daily grind, that constant daily black thoughts of who you currently are, the debt you have, the relationship you have, the job you have, the addiction you have. If you continue focusing on that, I can assure you of one thing, and it's not a great assurance, I'm afraid. You are going to continue living that life. You are going to continue being that person. You are going to continue getting those results. Those results will only change when you decide, nobody else, when you decide to start focusing on other things, and to start owning where you are, and to start owning the problems you have, and to start understanding how you got there, but then put them in a box, or put them on a page, or draw a line and understand, own, accept, but then shift that focus to something new. Shift that focus to, for me, being an alcoholic saved my life. Why? Repeating myself, but I'm making the point, because I had to then go, right, this is going to kill me. Literally, it's going to kill me. This addiction, it was a choice I made. I got into an addiction, and so I was making bad choices. But I could stop making those choices. I did stop making those choices, and I continue every day to stop making those choices. So, but what I was doing, but the point I'm making is what drove me to being an alcoholic was being incredibly unhappy, being incredibly frustrated, not living a truly authentic life, not genuinely focusing on what I wanted, not genuinely focused on who I wanted to be, not genuinely focused on doing every day what I wanted to truly do. All I was doing was becoming a darker version of the person I'd become, because it had money and it had wealth and it had status. But I hated it. I hated every moment of it. Now, people may say, well, that's ridiculous. You've got money, you've got wealth and all those things. But I think that's also a point, is that we're all driving after money. We're all driving after accolades. We're all driving after awards and success and finance. There's nothing wrong with that. But what you've got to do is make sure it's real, make sure it's authentic. Because if not, at the end of the journey you're on, life, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years old, you are going to have a moment to look back. And one thing I am so thankful of is that I know now I will look back and go, there were a lot of dark years. There were some really tough years. There were some negative years. There were some bad decision years. But because of alcoholism and then sobriety, I was able to find a true path. Find a true path to, again, make money. Find a true path to fake success, to make success. Find a true path to live a genuinely authentic life. So maybe, I hate the word luck, because I think we create our own luck and we create our own bad luck. But maybe there was a stroke of luck somewhere in it for me to have that one moment of not going to the darkest place where I could have gone and come out the other side and build a new life. So alcoholism, did it save my life? It changed the direction of my life. And by changing the direction of my life, gave me a new life, and it gave me a new reason to live. It gave me an authentic reason to live. So I'm saying to you, wherever you are right now, dark, not dark, unhappy, or whatever it is, if you are listening because you want change, that's fine. That's great, because you've highlighted you want to change. You highlighted you want something different. It took me years to even highlight it. I hid it. I hid it behind a bar. I hid it behind however many pints of lager every day. What I did, but then I exposed myself to the truth of what I really wanted. I exposed myself to the pain and the journey I had to go on to come the other side. But what a journey it's been, and I am so happy now, and I love working with people who find that enlightenment, who come to me, maybe really successful, who I coach, and they give all this impression that they're really successful, they're really this, but within a few sessions, we start unraveling a few things, and they go, "Crumbs, yeah, that's not where I wanna be. I'm making lots of money, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that. That's not really what I wanna be." I go, "Great, we're not gonna give it all up today, but we're gonna build a new path. We're gonna create a new path to find happiness, to find joy, to find excitement, to find a real, true, authentic life." I don't coach people to make more money. I don't coach people to be better sports people. I don't coach people to run their business better. They know how to do that already. I coach people to find their true selves. I had to do that. And what I try and do is work with people so they don't get to the point where they have to. It's where they want to. What a great place to be to, not to get to a point where people like me get to, where I have to change, where we can change that direction. And you can do it. How can you do it? You can focus on who you want to be. Everything I talked about in a video recently was about how you think, what you think about. Again, I keep going back to it. The magical mindset. Wrote a book about it. We've got a whole program of events about it. The mindset is the core. It is about creating a mindset which will then enable you to create the habits and the behaviors. People talk about the 5 a.m. I'm not going to use swear word club. I get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock every morning. It's incredibly important to me because it keeps me on the straight and narrow. Some people say, well, you don't need to. Well, no, I don't need to, but you don't need to tell me not to either. I don't care what kind of people put loads of posts on LinkedIn about, you don't need to get up at 5 o'clock to do something. So I get up at 9 o'clock every day, or I get up at 10. Great. Super. Knock yourself out. It doesn't affect my life at all. But I'll tell you what, the people I work with who are really making a difference, the people I work with who are really taking traction, who might say they're a 9 o'clock or an 8 o'clock, we work on that, just shifting that time a little bit earlier. And 100% of them stay with me on that journey. Do you know what, Cliff? You're right. I'm not going to shout about this. I can get up whenever. If you want to get up whenever you want to get up, get up. It's about focusing on what you want, and you want every day to be amazing. Why not make every day a little bit longer and no wasted time with alcohol and box sets? Yeah, you can have those moments. What about taking control of life, taking control of where you are? That's what sobriety taught me. That's why sobriety is my superpower. That is why I became an alcoholic. Probably saved my life because it made me change, and I changed, and I hope I'm going to help some other people change on this journey so you don't get to where I got to. Use your superpowers.